that's trying to get out of a regional on the boys basketball scene, and we'll go right to a coach that has already done it. He has cut the nets down. His team has cut the nets down. We have John Matisi coming in from Springfield. Coach, how are we doing today, bud?
Feeling pretty good, Anthony. How about yourself?
Has it sunk in yet? Like when did the hysteria of winning kind of settle down and it sink in that you guys are going to state?
Um, I would say for me, probably yesterday. It's just such a whirlwind. On Sunday, we had like a Zoom meeting with the people from the state, from the OHSAA. We had to worry about logistics, buses, hotels, and then we had our league all-star voting on Sunday also. So it was just kind of an all-day administrative kind of thing. You know, Obviously shout out to our athletic director Bob Beam for just being in constant contact every day, working his butt off to get us set up and get us the best possible stuff down there. But really, yesterday I was sitting at work and it was just kind of back to putting a practice plan together and kind of thinking that we're going to be on that floor. Just being in that arena, and it kind of hit me like, wow, this is pretty awesome.
Let's talk about this regional final game. I know we had your post game interview a little bit, so we got a little bit of an idea of what your thoughts were afterwards. But I want to go a little bit more in depth. You guys came out, you set the tone, you got ahead early, and in a defensive game like you knew it would be. How important was it to set the tone like that and get an early lead against Buckeye Central?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it, points were at a premium. So we just wanted to, I think he said that in his article out in their newspaper about the Western Reserve game. They think they want to really get a lead, come out the first 3 minutes, because that's the kind of style they want to play. They want to play defense. They want to try to make some shots and then stay in front. And so we knew if we got behind, we kind of be behind the eight ball a little bit. So we wanted to come out strong, get a lead, kind of impose our will, play the way we wanted to play. And luckily we were able to do that.
It seems like in districts and in regionals, both rounds went the same way. In the semifinals, you had to come back from a deficit, and in the finals, you were able to, like you said, impose your will, control the tempo of the game. What kind of thing does it say about your team that you're able to win in multiple different ways? I mean, you can come back if you have to, but obviously, you don't want to always put yourself in that situation. The team doesn't always put themselves in that situation. They're able to go out, set a tone early, and control tempo, and like you said, impose their will.
Mm-hmm. We've had to play all kinds of different ways this year. We really, I feel like, up the schedule. We didn't play any Division IV teams in the non-conference, and so we were lucky. We had the opportunity to add two schools with Jackson Milton not having a team, and I mean the two schools we added were Garfield and Rootstown, two really good D3 teams. Garfield won a district. I think Rootstown had 17 or 18 wins. So just to be able to add those teams to your schedule and then add a Crestview and add a West Branch and United, South Range. I mean, we played some pretty good competition, and it's games where we were behind, games where we were winning, and I think we took more from a couple games that we were winning that we lost. Just how we want to finish a game, how we want to not panic in a fourth quarter, and I think all those trials kind of led us to a place where we were pretty confident at the end of games.
You talked about the whirlwind that turns into this week because you guys made it to state, and there are so many logistics about going down to Dayton and making sure that everything's taken care of. Obviously, Bob Beam is a great way to take some weight off your shoulders. But how else have you been able to manage not getting overwhelmed or being caught up in that whirlwind of all the things that have to be taken care of heading down to state, and just focus on what you guys have to do as a team, practice planning, game planning, and things like that?
Yeah, well, if you ask my assistants, I like to delegate as much as possible. So, Diana's kind of the, I don't want to call her the liaison for the parents, but, she's a parent of a couple kids on the team herself. So she handles a lot of the communication with them. My brother Zach does a lot of the scouting, a lot of the game film, um, and then I kind of try to handle everything else. It was just nice after a day and a half of kind of non-basketball things to get back in the gym yesterday. And then, I've had plenty of people reach out, obviously my dad, other coaches that I've known, anything that we can do for you, let us know. So, I mean, it's, anything like this where you get to this point is going to be by committee.
I was able to talk to Jaminka Brungard yesterday in a player profile that's going to be airing right after yours is done. But one of the things I asked her was who was the first person that she looked to after the buzzer rang and you guys won. Who was the first person you kind of wanted to make sure you embraced or made sure that you wanted to give a hug to after that buzzer went off and you knew that you were going to state?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zach caught me first. After the buzzer went off, everyone's kind of jumping around. You do start looking around, and we caught each other, and it was like, holy cow! What just happened? Obviously it's something we thought we were capable of, but I don't know if anybody ever expects to win that game. So just to do that, then obviously it was nice. They keep everybody off the floor, but my dad and my wife were able to sneak over, kind of while the awards were going on, and just to be able to see them, to see my mom after. Um, I had, I don't know, 50 messages after that game was over on my phone. So it just, I think everybody in the area is happy. I think everybody kind of is reaching out. So that it's been a really fun thing.
What's it like knowing that you're at this point, you're the last girls team standing, and now whether they're rivals or whether they're teams that you haven't played yet or teams that you have played, everyone's kind of looking at you, rooting for you guys, and you have like this whole Tiger Nation that wears all these different colors that are wearing orange and black now. What's that kind of like?
Yeah, it's been great. Just a lot of messages from other coaches we played this year. Like I said, we had our league meeting on Sunday for the All-Star voting, and everybody was very supportive there. We had on Thursday night, we're on the way home on the bus, and I get a text from Coach Miller, hey, whatever you need, let me know. He shared some film with us. He shared, a set list with us for what he had on Buckeye. So, I mean, we probably don't want to beat anybody more than them during the season. And he'd probably tell you the same thing, but it's a different time of year. It's tourney time. You want to see your other teams in your league have success. And just to be able to do, have support like that within the league from, coaches in the area is, it's very special.
Before we preview this game against Toledo Christian, I do want to talk about the MVAC kind of postseason awards. And obviously, you were a part of voting for that, like every other MVAC coach. What a great league. What was it like getting together and trying to kind of, work out who deserves what and work out where these players fit? Obviously, so much talent in the conference. What was it like getting together and kind of reflecting on the conference season and all the great talent that you have inside the MVAC?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, anytime you could recognize, not only your kids but the kids from the other teams, it's a nice thing. Just to be able to, kind of look around, like you're in when you're in season mode and you're scouting and you're just doing game planning 2 days and game planning. You see the kids as kind of obstacles to defeat, but then once you're in a room like that and you're saying, wow, I didn't realize this kid had these numbers, or I didn't realize she was able to do this year. um, it really puts it in perspective how good some of these kids are, and then getting the list for the All-Star game also, and just seeing the number of seniors. Man, this league was filled with some really good seniors. A lot of teams are going to have some big shoes to fill this offseason, but we should have a pretty good team for that All-Star game.
All right, before one last thing about the MVAC, I just want to put you on the spot a little bit. Who was the one player that like impressed you the most, or you think you had to game plan the most as far as the MVAC opponent?
Mm-hmm. Definitely Waterloo. We did some things differently for them defensively than really we've done for any other team this year. I think it's impossible to separate Couts and English. I would say they are. We didn't plan for one of them. They're a package deal. You got to plan for both of them. Rose is so strong with the ball. Really pushes it, really handles it, really runs that team, as well as any point guard we've seen. And then obviously English is, I put her right next to JC with her relentlessness. She really attacks the basketball on the glass, really strong going to the basket. She's somebody that, we don't even want it in her hands, because the damage she can do when she catches is, a lot. So that was probably the biggest departure we had this year from our regular man-to-man, was trying to game prep for them.
Now we have to talk about Dayton. This is so fun. We get to preview a state semifinal. You guys are playing Toledo Christian. I mean, how much have you been able to learn about this team in the last couple of days? And what can you tell us about what Tiger fans should expect out of this team and what kind of obstacles they put in front of you?
Yeah, they have. We've seen just with our schedule a lot of really good point guard and post combos. And they're probably the top of the list from what we've seen this year. They have a point guard that is very quick, very shifty, has the basketball on a string, can pretty much do whatever you know do whatever she wants to do with the basketball out on the floor. So she's somebody that we're really going to have all eyes on her at all times. Really try to limit her impact as much as we can, and then they have a pretty strong big girl inside. Um, we usually don't see anybody too much bigger than Jamaica, and she's probably a little bigger than Jamaica is. So, she's very strong inside. She has the moves inside. She can step outside and shoot it. So just the combination of those two trying to hold them down is going to be, our biggest test. And then they have obviously role players around them. I think they made 6 threes in their regional final, and those are coming from the other kids. So it's just we really have to dig in and make sure we know what our game plan is and we're very sound.
Obviously, when you get to this level, even when you get to regionals, every team that you're playing is good and they're there for a reason. So, that being said, how much of this week and game planning is going to be more focused on what you guys do and trying to focus this on your game? And how much do you still have to scout the other team that's so unfamiliar, like a Toledo Christian?
Mm-hmm. We try to give the girls comparisons, just so this point guard is kind of like this person we've seen, this post is kind of like this person we've seen, just so they can get an idea. At this point in the year, we have everything in that we're going to need to have in. So we have the defense we ran against Waterloo, to try to stop a good point guard and then a really strong post. We have some different traps that we have in to try to stop a point guard. We have some just different things, full court things, that we've used throughout the year that we can say, hey, remember when we did this? This is maybe going to be on the play sheet for Thursday. Remember when we did this? And it's just kind of getting those things in their heads, cleaning them up, and making sure they're ready to go.
We've talked about the different ways you've won throughout the tournament. How much do you think that experience is going to help you in Dayton? There's bound to be a point in the game when that team makes a run or things aren't going exactly the way you want it. How do you think the experience of the girls already being through that in big moments is going to help them get through it in Dayton?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been the most impressive thing with this group during this run is they have really been unfazed by kind of anything that goes against us, anything that maybe we get unlucky, maybe a team hits a buzzer beater like what happened in the regional final, and we just kind of looked around and said, okay, that's fine, let's keep going, instead of hanging our heads. um, I looked up on OHSAA the tournament participants today, and I don't think they were on there, so I think this is the first time for them too. So it's going to be whichever team can come out and just settle down, settle into the game, play the way they want to play. Whichever team kind of gets into the game first, I feel like is going to have the advantage.
You guys are not alone either. I think I saw the 7 out of 16 teams in the state semifinals across the divisions are making their first trip to state. So a lot of teams making a name for themselves, and you are one of them. You're leaving for Dayton at 2 o'clock on Wednesday tomorrow. Do you get any time on that floor before warmups for the game? Do you get a practice on that floor? Do you have any time to kind of get familiar with that stage of a college arena?
No, they're pretty much going, all the time out there. So it's, we're not going to have any time when we get out there. We're going to get out there, I would expect around dinner time on Wednesday, grab some dinner, get to the hotel. But, those games start at 11 o'clock on Thursday. So, they'll be starting the games early. We won't have time to get in before that. And then, it's just kind of a normal tournament, 30 minutes before the game starts, we can get out there. We'll try to get as many shots up as we can. I know it's, a kind of a different sight lines with the college atmosphere, but, we didn't make very many shots in that regional and we were okay. So we might be okay Thursday.
Is there anything you can do to try to prepare for that at all? I mean, obviously you can't just go and find a college gym and play in it. But is there any way you can try to prepare for like, hey guys, this is going to be a bigger stadium. It's going to be a bigger atmosphere, a bigger kind of stage. This is what we should do to, get ourselves ready for that.
Hmm. I don't think so. I mean, they were obviously looking up like pictures of the arena when we were coming home on the bus, just try to get some kind of idea of what it looks like. But as far as trying to find somewhere to practice to replicate that, or something like that, we haven't gone that far. We're trying to keep it as normal as possible these next couple days. Do the stuff that we're used to doing, and we'll take our chances down there when we get there.
All right. After the game on Saturday, I joked that your dad can't brag about being the only person in the family that's made a state run anymore. Obviously, all joking aside, what's it been like to be able to have someone that's right next to you in Coach Matisi as your dad to tell you how this kind of goes and what to expect out of going to state and what the experience is like? Obviously, he went to Dayton too. That was the first year they had to Dayton, so he's played on that floor. He's won on that floor. So what's it like to have someone one call away that can tell you exactly how it felt and exactly what kind of things his team went through when they went down to state?
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously a great resource. I've talked to him every day, multiple, couple times a day, since Saturday. Just quick calls, hey, who'd you use for your charter bus? Hey, where'd you stay? What did you do that first night when you were down there? Different things, just to see kind of what works and what doesn't. He's someone that's been down there. I've had other coaches reach out and just kind of say, hey, I thought maybe this worked and this didn't work. So we have, I'm very lucky to be, where we're in the area where we have a lot of coaches that some of them have been down there and able to share kind of their experience.
What was it like just to have him there for that moment on Saturday, winning the championship? He was in his orange and black. He put that on. He wasn't bothered by the rivalry between you and McDonald. He put the orange and black on. He was there supporting you guys, and what was it like to share that moment with him?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great. He's obviously the reason we've all gotten into this, into coaching. So just to be able to do that with him in the stands is, I mean, something I think I probably dreamt about. I didn't think it was ever actually something that was going to happen. So to have it happen is just extremely special. To see him, in the Springfield colors. Not only him, I have to shout out my mother wearing some Springfield. She still teaches at Lowville. She's a Lowville graduate, so I know for her to put on the orange and black was very difficult. But she was able to do that for us, and I thought she looked pretty good.
I feel that, Coach. Somehow, Mr. Lesnack wrote me into wearing orange and black. Told you before the game, as a South Range alum, it's not easy, not easy. But we are supporting you guys. Before we let you go, what is the thing you are most excited about this weekend? Most excited about heading down to Dayton and being a part of this experience?
I'm just excited for the community. When we went down there a couple years ago with my dad, just seeing everybody together, seeing everybody celebrating the girls, enjoying the experience. That's what I'm most excited about. We have tremendous support amongst our parents, people in the school, the teachers, the community. So just to be able to, kind of have that payoff for everybody. The parents put in so much time. Now they get to kind of reap the benefit of that by, getting a couple days off. The kids get a couple days off. We get to go and kind of have fun. Like I said, this is a big celebration of this team, and what they've been able to accomplish.
All right, Coach. We wish you the best of luck in Dayton. We're cheering for you. We'll be wearing our orange and black from home. I think Noah Doty, we're trying our best to get him down there. So hopefully you'll have a YSN crew down there with you for a broadcast as well. We can't wait to see you when you get back, and hopefully we can talk about a state championship in a couple of days.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Anthony. Thanks a lot.
All right, Coach. We'll see you soon.